Welcome back to Peachy's place. My name is Peachy and this is my place. Evening folks, welcome back to Peachy's place. How you doing? So yesterday I did an oil change on the bike, on the Bandit. The next step is tackling the... wait for the cars to go past. Tell you what, if I came into a huge lump sum of money, I'll tell you what I would do. I was discussing this with Del the other day. I would open up a garage here. One of these ones where you can go in and work on your own bikes and you just got all the tools and stuff that you need there. I think that would be wicked. There's nothing like that here and I think there's a call for it. I tell you, if I had the money to do it, I really would. Okay, so just for quick comparison's sake, it's your clutch and your brake. Look at the fluid in there. It's not the prettiest, but it's not looking too bad either. So that was done fairly recently, or certainly just before I bought the bike back in July. This one on the other hand, that's looking pretty mucky. Yeah. Clutch, brake, clutch, brake, clutch. Yucky. I'm going to attempt to change the hydraulic fluid on the clutch on my Suzuki Bandit. Should the plane crash and burn, the emergency exits are there, there and there. Let's hope I don't crash and burn. First time I've done it, so wish me luck. Okay, so first thing you want is a screwdriver, an appropriate screwdriver for the screws on the lid there. And you want it to, you want to make sure that it fits properly, okay, so that you don't start mincing your screws. The other thing you want to do, I've already done, as you can see, is I've arranged a bit of old blanket, blankie, to protect the paintwork on my bike, because the liquid in here is extremely corrosive. It is water soluble, which is why we need to change it. I'll explain that in a bit. So you can wash it off, but it is extremely corrosive, and if you don't get to it in time, it's going to ruin your paintwork. I'd rather just not have to clean it off. So very carefully remove these screws. And if the screwdriver starts to slip, you start mincing the screws, stop immediately, change screwdriver, or do whatever you have to do. If they're rusted, sometimes they can rust, like these are starting to corrode. Look at that. Look. That's corrosion on the end of that there. Right, you remove the cap. Set that there for now. You have this little plastic thing there, take that off carefully. Oh my god. If you look at that, you can see that that side of this little rubber, it's like a rubber diaphragm, yeah? Air comes in under the white cap and it allows that rubber diaphragm to go up and down, and this is what pushes the fluid through the system. Right, you have little air holes there on the top of the cap, in that circle there. The cap sits in there. Right, you see these little notches in the side there. You've got one at the top, one at the bottom, one at the bottom, one at the top. So that can go any way, any which way round. Except it's got that writing on it, which is only going to go one way. So it can go either way, but it doesn't have to. Personally, I'd rather it match up with the other one. Right. So anyway, the air comes in through those little slots, goes in through that hole there in the middle, and that pushes down on that diaphragm. and the diaphragm pushes that liquid down into the system. Now this is going to have to come out, because basically what's happened is, as this hasn't been changed for some time, it has been sucked. Oh my god, look at that. Wow. Yuck. Yuck. That needs doing so badly. Okay, I'm going to put that there. That's safe there for now. Okay, rather fortuitously, my friend Christian has just come back into his garage because it was closed, and in the whole garage I managed to find one 8mm spanner. So gravy, because otherwise I would not have been able to do it. So crack that off a little bit. Right, okay, so I crack the nipple off, and the spanner goes on first, then you put your tube in, you crack the nipple off just to release it, and then what you want to do is hold in your clutch to there, just put some pressure on it, and with the one hand doing that, you open this up and then push your clutch handle all the way in and nip it off again. The reason for doing it this way is because as you're pushing your clutch handle in, you're expelling any air that's in the system. Okay, obviously there's going to be air going in there. Well, there's liquid there, the air won't get underneath it, but any air coming out through the tube is going to be expelled through the system. So, and then once you've released a little bit and you've tightened it up again, you can release the clutch lever, and you can see that the brown crap that's come from a reservoir has now started coming through the tube. And so we continue. Squeeze a little bit, put a little bit of pressure on the clutch, open it up again, and you'll feel the clutch lever going slack. You push it all the way in and tighten it off again. Then you can release the clutch. What we're doing is we're just pumping it through our system. We're just pumping it through to get rid of all this crap. I need to be rather quick doing this because I'm doing it and I can see that the fluid, as I'm stopping and I'm talking into the camera, the fluid is actually backing up the pipe. Alright, okay. I'm going to get a cloth in there. I'm going to soak all that up. Right, mate. I'm going to soak all that up with a cloth, and then I'm going to put the clean stuff in. Okay, so get a bit of old rag. These cloths are good. They're really good because they're really absorbent. You just soak up loads of crap with them. So just get that in there.
Happy New Year, nice to see you, man. Yeah. Not bad. Oh, family.
So get in there with that cloth, pick up all the crap. And I know that you can't see in there at the moment because of the angle. Once I've cleaned it all out, I will I'll show you. Oh, there's something I weren't expecting. Right, see, I've spoken before about YouTube videos being a great help, but they don't always show you the unexpected. I watched Del's video. Oh, come on, get in focus. I watched Del's video about 4 times on this, and I never noticed this little thing. Now I've just knocked that out with a cloth because I didn't even notice it was in there. Not paying attention, it's my own bloody fault. I think it goes in this way, but I'm not terribly sure. I'm going to have a fiddle with this. I'm guessing that is a spring to push this rubber bit back up at the bottom. So this is why I say, ladies and gents, I've never ever pretended to be a mechanic. The purpose of my videos is to prove to you that anyone can do this stuff. I have my problems, my little trials and tribulations along the way, but I get there in the end, and if I can do it, you can too. That, folks, is the sole purpose of Peachy's place. It's not because it's not about the subscribers, it's not about making friends, although yeah, that's an added bonus. The sole purpose why I started this channel in the first place is to show people like myself a year ago that it can be done. You don't need to spend £80 an hour on mechanics fees to get this sort of work done. Just got to persevere with it and cross your fingers and hope for the best, really. I was speaking to 13 Here Comes the Sun last night, and she was saying, oh, I wish I could do the stuff that you do. It ain't hard. It ain't hard. It's actually harder to get it wrong than to get it right. It's just that I've always done things the hard way. That's just me. That's just me. Calamity Chris. Right, let's see. Right, I'm going to stop it here and I'm going to watch this video back and see if I can figure out how this came out. Okay folks, I figured it out. I watched the video back and it goes, if you do experience this problem, if you knock it out yourselves and you're not sure which way it goes back in, there's 3 little prongs on that bit in the middle there, and they go facing upwards, and there's like a little lip. You should be able to get your finger, just get your finger under there. That's how it goes back in, and I'm convinced that the purpose for that is to push this rubber bit back up. So, okay. What I want to do now try to steady the camera. If it's all possible. Okay. I put some new fluid in this. This is a new bottle. It's already been opened because Mrs. Peachy did a brakes the other day, which I was very proud of her, by the way. Carefully pour that in there. Right, only need to go about halfway. We're going to need to put some more in shortly. And basically we're going to pump this through until it's coming through that colour on the other side. It's the same drill as before. Holding the clutch lever. Just start pumping. Alright, now when it gets to there, stop and fill it up again. With the clutch still pressed in, so there's no way of getting in. At least, in theory, I think that should work. I just want to pour some more of that in there. Because I don't want to start sucking air through. Once that starts going down again, we're good to go. Right. Tuck the pipe in there so it doesn't leak all over the place. Make sure that is tightened up. There probably is a torque. In fact, there is a torque set. I have no idea what it is. I've never used a torque wrench in my life and I don't have one. So that'll be on my wish list for next Christmas, I think, or for my birthday. Right, cap back on. I want to top this up now, just so that it's at to the top line there. It's not. There, that will do. There's that. A little bit of spillage on there, just give that a wipe. Saw me cleaning this earlier. You saw when I pulled it out, everything had been pulled out of shape. Hey Andrew, been pulled out of shape, so I've just remanaged that. No, it's the clutch now. So that goes back in there like that. Sits nice and flush. And this goes top of there like that. Plate. Don't want to over tighten these, but they were pretty loose when I took them off, so I just want to make sure that they're on properly. Okay, what time is it? Well, it's late. It's 20 to 7. Started this at about 5:30. There's always some drama with me. The simplest 15-minute jobs always take an hour. But there you go. It works. The clutch is nice and spongy. You can see it's nice and clean in there. It's actually cleaner in there than the brakes. I will get around to doing the brakes at some point, but for the time being I've got no complaints with the brakes. They're actually pretty nice. And I'm out of time. So I make it look a lot harder than it really is, because that's just me, because I'm awkward like that. But look at it this way, if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.